How you doing, folks? I'm James. This is Steven here with Mustard Slinger Sports. We're coming to you from GERALD J. Ford Stadium on the SMU campus, where it's homecoming today. The SMU Mustangs are going to be taking on the University of South Florida Bulls. And we got to talk about a revolving door at quarterback this year for the SMU Mustangs. But it seems like they found their guy this past week, the sophomore Matt Davis.
Yes, it has been a revolving door at quarterback for SMU. And last week, the young kid had a heck of a game. He threw for 212 yards, a couple touchdowns. He's had some action throughout the year, mainly second half, mop-up action, just kind of see what he's got. He's got a chance of proving himself last week, and he definitely, made Tom Mason look like a smart man. And he also set the school record for rushing yards with 181 in that game. Definitely a good start, first career start for the kid. He's going to provide a spark for this offense for the rest of the year, I think.
Yeah, I think he is too. And then we got to look at the other side of the field in this USF team. They're coming off their second bye week of the season, and they've got the big guy, Marlon Mack, who's arguably the Bulls' most productive offensive player. I mean, he's rushed for 825 yards this season and 8 touchdowns. And he's coming off his most impressive game of the season, which was the first game of the season where he rushed for 275 yards and 4 touchdowns against Western Carolina.
It's a pretty good game. You also can't forget about the receiver, Andre Davis. He has 12 receiving records for the University of South Florida. 12. Those are just ridiculous, including yards, catches, touchdowns, the whole thing. You can't forget about him and this SMU defense that's been giving up 46 points per game, correct? They definitely have to keep an eye on both of these guys. They want to slow them down.
Right. And, you look at the other side of the ball, this USF defense. I'm sorry, we're talking about USF right now. I kind of got confused there. But no, anyways, this USF defense also, too, they've got Nigel Harris on there. They're led by the sophomore linebacker. He leads FBS and forced fumbles at 5. And then he also leads this team with tackles for losses at 7.5.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah. And you got to think also, too, the Bulls are 5th in turnovers, so they've recovered 12, and it's completely opposite when you look at the other side of the ball for this SMU defense, isn't it?
Gosh, it's completely opposite. I mean, you just look at their games all year, and they've had backup quarterbacks come in the second half. They've still been giving up touchdowns, giving up 46 points per game. I mean, Tom Mason, he knows defense, but it's not showing this year, and the SMU's just been getting ran over by pretty much anybody they've been playing, and they definitely need to step up today.
Yeah, and let's be honest here. I mean, this weather could play a factor in today's game. You don't want it to. You want it to be a matchup to where you can do something on it, but this is only University of South Florida's second trip to the DFW Metroplex after they came to TCU and played a few years back and everything. And this is only the second meeting between these two conference teams. SMU took the last meeting last year in Tampa Bay where they won 16-6. And what do you look for in the matchups tonight, Stevie?
Well, actually, I'm going to go out on a bold limb here and predict SMU to win this game. You saw what the offense did last week against Tulsa. Hey, football's all about momentum. This team's going to be excited. They don't want to lose every game for the whole year. They definitely don't want to go out like that. They're going to have this spark from Matt Davis, and I see them getting a win today, scoring about 30 points.
Yeah, and they had their closest game of the year last year. They only lost in Tulsa by 10 points in their last game, which was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they're going to win a game, this should be the game to win, like we talked about when we were down at Baylor. It is homecoming and everything. Now, I'm going to do something here. I'm going to go a little bit off on everything with you. Okay. And since we're mainly doing everything, I want to talk about this Big 12 race a little bit.
Okay.
What do you think about this Big 12 race?
Well, I think right now Baylor is clearly the favorite. They went out, they're going to win the Big 12. But the thing is, with this goofy college football playoff and rankings, you got TCU at 4 right now, and they're obviously ranked above Baylor. Well, you got to think Baylor did win the head-to-head matchup. They got to be ranked higher at the year if Baylor wins out.
Yeah, but the thing is that this college football playoff system was supposed to come and take away a lot of the controversies that happened because they were going to look at things that the computer rankings and the coaches rankings didn't look at. They were going to look at head-to-head matchups and common teams that were played,
non-conference schedule,
and non-conference schedule and stuff. Now, I think TCU moving up to 4th last week in the playoff rankings, I think a lot of that had to do with Minnesota moving up into the 25th spot.
Yes.
But they lost to Ohio State today, so I think that's going to be everything. But the thing you got to look at is, if you want to look at common opponents that these two teams have played, okay? We've got Oklahoma, which was there, all right? TCU only won by 4 points in Amon Carter.
Yes.
But OU went up last week to Norman, and was it 48-14 was the final score up there?
Yes.
So they won by 24 points, okay? So you take that 4 points away that Baylor had. I mean, Baylor still got a 20-point advantage over those two teams they had played each other with. Then let's take the next. Who was the next
Kansas State.
player? Kansas State's going to be the last game of the year. The last game of the year for Baylor. Baylor's played somebody else that they played. It doesn't matter. But the thing is that if you take the common opponents and you look at them on their points are very similar to what they had. There's only a 4-point difference between those two teams and the two common opponents they played.
Yes.
But yet Baylor is ranked 3 spots down from where TCU is right now.
And you imagine they're going to leapfrog them.
Well, they should. I mean, especially with the showing that TCU did today in Kansas. You got to think Kansas came down there to Baylor for homecoming, and the 60-14 was the final score for that game. And
it wasn't even a game.
At the time we came down right now, TCU was only up by 4 points at the time we left. So I don't know what's happened since then because we've been down here on the field. Look for us to bring you more coverage after the game's over with and everything. Hopefully we can stay warm enough and be able to take care of you at that point in time. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, we'll see you later.